everyone! So today I'm going to be doing my long-awaited full review of the Grisha Trilogy. So as you all probably know, I've been reading this trilogy over the past 2 months about, and I'm finally finished with it. I finished Rune and Rising about a few days ago, and I have quite a few opinions on this series. I have just this series has just been such a strange experience for me. I really thought that I was going to like it when I went into it, but as you'll see, I didn't really end up enjoying it as much as I thought I would. So here are all the books. There is Shadow and Bone, so that's the first one. Then there is Siege and Storm, that's the second one. And then there is Rune and Rising, which is the third one. And I have them in these covers because, you know, this one was about, I think, $2 or $3 on Amazon. So I just decided to stick with this cover set. And I really love these covers, actually. They're so pretty. I know a lot of people don't like them, but I think that they're really nice. Like, I especially love this one. Like, the colors are pretty. Same with this one. The colors are really pretty as well. Not a huge fan of this cover, but at least they all match. And yeah, they look really nice on my shelf as well, and I like how shiny they are. So I mean, they're really pretty books to look at. So for this review, I'm going to go through one by each book, and then I think at the end we'll kind of do like a wrap up of all the thoughts. Also, huge spoiler alert, I'm going to be talking about these books in depth and like kind of sort of spoiling some things. So if you haven't read these, probably not a good idea to watch this video, just letting you know right now. So the first one I'm going to be talking about is obviously Shadow and Bone, and this is the first book in the Grisha Trilogy. This is what starts it all off. And this is where we meet Alina, and she is just a normal, regular girl. She doesn't have any powers, whatever, but then one day she discovers that actually she does have powers that she never really knew about and that she didn't know she really had access to. And that's where we start off in the entire series, so it's not really a spoiler or anything. Okay, so let's start off with like the things that I did like about this book. Obviously, I really love the setting. I love that it's sort of Russian inspired, or at least Eastern European inspired. I really liked the way that this book used the Chosen One trope. I thought that was really well done with Alina, where she like finally experiences her magic, but it's not really very good. It's not like super well developed. She's not very good at using it, and so I thought that that was really nice that she actually struggles a lot to actually use her powers, because I feel like a lot of the time when there's a Chosen One trope, you know, it's kind of like immediately, oh, they're really great, oh, they're amazing, or whatever, but Alina needs like things to actually help her use her powers rather than just using them on her own. And I thought that was really well done. I actually really liked that. Another thing I liked about this book was the Darkling. I thought he was a really well done character throughout the entire series, actually. And I thought he was really well developed. I liked his story. I liked, you know, his personality as a villain. I thought that was really nice. And I feel like he was probably one of the better characters in the series. I mean, there are a lot of really great characters in the series. I guess I'm just like talking about one specific character that brings a lot of them down. So yeah, I did really like the Darkling as a villain, and I just, you know, I really liked him in this first book. So some of the things I didn't really like about this book were the basic writing was really annoying to me. I just felt like there was no real substance to it, you know, and I just felt like there were some things that dragged on really long and then other things that weren't really fleshed out correctly. Another thing was that I feel like this was kind of not really good on my part because I read Six of Crows and Cricket Kingdom before finishing this book. So I technically started this book a few years ago before I started Six of Crows. And then I just stopped reading it, forgot all about it pretty much, picked up Six of Crows, read that, Cricket Kingdom, read that, and then I came back to this one. Even though I'd already read half of it, I just like started from the beginning anyway. So yeah, I feel like that was kind of my bad. That's kind of my fault that I don't really like these books as much, because I feel like maybe I would have liked them if I hadn't read Six of Crows. I feel like that's kind of my issue, my problem. But I just felt like it wasn't plotted out very well. Like, it just seemed so weird, like the way that this whole thing was stretched out, and like, you know, I don't know, it just seems like it could have been resolved within maybe 2 books. It didn't need to be 3 books. I felt like a lot of the last book was a little, you know, So, but I did like this book. You know, subjectively, I did like this book. I thought it was really fun and fast-paced, and I read it really quickly, so I guess that's why I felt like it was fast-paced. I don't really know. But I didn't hate this book. Like, I gave it, I think, a 3.5 stars, which isn't that bad. I didn't dislike it as much as a 3-star book, but I didn't love it as much as a 4-star book, so it was kind of in between there. So, you know, overall, this book was kind of meh. It was fun. It was a book. You know, I feel like that's about as much as I can say about the first one. Also, did I mention that I forgot about Mal basically the entire time I read this book? Like, every time he would show up, I'd be like, who the frick are you? Like, who are you? And then they would remind us and be like, oh yeah, I forgot about him. I totally forgot. The next book in the series is Siege and Storm, which is the book I actually have the least amount of notes on. This one, I wouldn't say it's forgettable. It's pretty forgettable. I really can't remember a lot of the stuff that happens in this book, honestly, even though I only read it maybe a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago. Yeah, I think I read it. I finished it at the beginning of May, so it wasn't really that long ago that I read this one. So obviously I'm reading my notes. But the best part about this book is obviously Nikolai. You meet Nikolai in this book. He's amazing. I love him. He is just like everything that is good about this book, like about this whole series. Like, I was literally just reading the series so I could like meet Nikolai, so I would have the chance to read King of Scars when it comes out, because I'm gonna love that book. I already know it, because literally every time that Nikolai is mentioned in this book, or like we see a scene with him, it's the best scene. It's like, it's just so well written. I don't know why Leigh Bardugo was able to write Nikolai so well, but then everyone else seemed to be kind of a struggle for her. Everyone else was so flat and kind of boring. I mean, I love Alina. Alina is my girl, but I mean, still, compared to Nikolai, everyone was just kind of like a few notches down. So I don't really understand that. Like, I feel like, I don't know. It's just, I wish that she had fleshed out everyone as well as she fleshed out Nikolai and the Darkling, because I felt like they were kind of the shining stars of this series. And Mal and Alina were kind of boring, but I did like a lot of the other side characters, like Genya and Zoya. I love them too. So, you know, I still feel like Nikolai's the best part of this series, so I do like this book because of that. One of the things that really, really annoyed me in this book was Mal. Like, he got even worse in this book. Like, in the first one, he was just forgettable. That was his only crime. And then in the second one, he becomes emotionally abusive. He becomes a cheater. He does all these things, and I'm just like, how does anyone like Mal? Like, really, like, honestly, do people like Mal? I mean, people do like a lot of other characters that I find are very abusive, and like, I'm very surprised that they like them. But Mal, I mean, like, he's so emotionally abusive. Oh my god, like, I wish I had quotes. I don't have any quotes. But he's so annoying. And I can't stand him at all. Like, just, oh my god. And when he cheats on Alina, and it's kind of made out to be her fault in a way that he cheated because she doesn't pay enough attention to him or something, and he's always like, you don't pay enough attention to me, I don't know if you like me, like, whatever. And like, oh my god, it's so annoying. I am so annoyed by him all the time. It's just like the worst. And I can't believe that he cheats on her and then no one says anything about it. Like, people see it, but no one calls him out. No one calls him out on any of his bullshit, so I just don't understand why he was necessary. I literally hate him so much. I feel like if he wasn't around, I would have rated these books so much higher, because Mal is just, I can't stand him. I honestly can't stand him. And then with Ruin and Rising, this book really, really started off well, and then it took a huge nosedive. So that was my experience reading this. Like, I started off this book really enjoying it. I was so into it. I was like, yeah, let's do this. And then it just dropped off somewhere, and I was just like, no, I don't like this. I don't want to read this anymore. And it just got so boring. And like, there were parts in this book that I just completely skipped or skimmed, just breezed past because I just couldn't stand it anymore. And like, the descriptions of setting were so unnecessary for a lot of the like points in this book. Like, there's so many parts that could have just been deleted that weren't necessary. Like, this book could have been so much shorter. And it's so sad that so much of the page space was wasted on useless descriptions that were pointless. Mal is still the worst, and I'm still in love with Nikolai, so Nikolai is still the best part of this book. Even when he turns into a huge monster, he's still great, so still better than Mal. When I was reading this book, I made that Twitter post, so like, why do people hate Alina when Mal is right there? And it still stands. I still hate him. And I love the updates that I wrote where I was like, oh my gosh, I'm actually crying, like when Mal died and when the Darkling died. I was like, oh my god, I was actually legitimately crying. And I was like, why am I crying over Mal? And then like my next update was like, oh shit, the bitch is still alive. Sorry guys. He's still alive. I'm not crying anymore. So honestly, I hate this book so much. I hate it so much. I feel like, did I give it 2 stars? Because it deserves 2 stars. Like, I wouldn't give it 1 star because I did enjoy parts of it, and I love Nikolai, I love Alina, but I just didn't like this book at all. Zoya and Genya, still 2 of my faves. I still hate the ending of this book. I can't stand it. I can't. But I did end up liking, like, the way that the Darkling died. I don't know. Like, I just liked that ending part where the Darkling died. So I guess that was a good part of the ending, but that's about it. So overall with this series, I think as a series, I would probably give it about 3 stars because these 2 are about 3.5 and this one's a 2 star. So I feel like that's kind of fair to give it 3 stars as a whole. I do think that these are worth reading if you're going to read Six of Crows and King of Scars. You have to know Nikolai to read King of Scars, so I think it's a really good idea to actually try and read these. They're very, very fast paced and very quick to read, so it's not like it's going to take you forever. Like, this took me, you know, about 2 months to finish, and that was when I was reading other books as well. So I figure if you read these back to back, it might take you about 2 weeks, I would say, 2 or 3 weeks. So I don't think that these are like too much of a commitment, but I think they are kind of necessary to at least read King of Scars. I didn't have to read these to read Six of Crows. I don't think that you have to, but if you want to read the newest book, the one that's going to come out in January of next year, I highly recommend reading these. I didn't like them as much, but I know a lot of people who do love them more than I do, so you might like them as well. I do think that the writing is too simple. I feel like the plot wasn't developed well enough. I feel like the characters weren't developed well enough. I do like Nikolai, the Darkling, Genya, Zoya, and those are my favorite characters. I also love Alina. I feel like she's a little annoying in the first book, but in the second and third ones, I do actually like her a lot. Mal is trash. Mal is honest to God trash. He needs to burn in a freaking fire. I wish he would have died in the last book. He needed to die in the last book. It felt right. It felt whole in my heart. I felt it like, I felt like my heart like growing 10 sizes when he died. I know it's really horrible, but it's true. And yeah, I just feel like I have so many opinions on these books. I could have talked about these for like hours because I just can't. I don't know. I just have so many opinions about these books, and I don't regret reading them at all. I don't regret purchasing them. They were pretty cheap, but I wish that they had been better. But I feel like I just went in with too high of expectations, and that's half of my fault. So I can't completely blame these books. I feel like I would have liked them when I was like 16 and hadn't read Six of Crows. I feel like that's like the part that like really screwed me over, is that I'd read Six of Crows. But yeah, I mean, technically I probably wouldn't have liked these when I was 16 because I didn't like fantasy when I was a teenager. So I liked contemporary. Anyway, side note, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and, you know, let's discuss in the comments. I'm totally open because I'm pretty, like, lukewarm about this series. Like, I have a lot of opinions and I have a lot of feelings, but I'm not, like, one that's like, oh, you have to hate this book or anything, so let's talk about it in the comments. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more videos like this one, then let me know, because I don't really do very many reviews or discussion videos, but I kind of want to start to do them, so if you guys like them, then let me know and I'll do more of them. And if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!